Let's talk about California Proposition 50. That's the upcoming ballot measure that they're holding a special election for on November 4th to address redistricting the state of California. It is a direct response to Texas's action, except for the difference is Texas did it behind closed doors with just their state legislatures that was controlled by the GOP, where Gavin Newsom and the Democrats in California are actually putting it on a ballot measure, allowing the voters of California to decide this. I've said this a million times. I'm against gerrymandering at its base. I think gerrymandering is one of the things that is destroying this country. Unfortunately, the Republicans don't feel the same way, and they've extensively used gerrymandering throughout the country, not just Texas, to ensure that they get the most favorable outcomes in their congressional votes throughout their red states that they represent. A lot of people are against this California measure, one of them being the former governor and actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I feel it's crucial. As much as I hate the idea of gerrymandering, again, we are not playing by the same rules. We are going to lose our democracy if we continue to try to stand on old political norms and not directly confront what the GOP and MAGA is doing. I'm not a fan of Newsom, but right now...
Hello guys, welcome back to my social commentary. I hope we are doing good and we are watching this video. Like we always say, we are not criticizing and we are not supporting. All we are doing is publicizing. We are trying to make information go viral. We are trying to make what is happening in our country, what is happening around us go viral, to gain more visible views, to gain more attention from people that will see it and know what is happening in the country we are in right now. So without wasting much of our time, if this is your first time of coming across our video, do well to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so more videos like this will pop up your screen. And tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. California political battlefield is currently heating up for Proposition 50. Yes, this is the so-called Election Rigging Response Act that is set for November 4th, 2025. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive in straight into the video. Tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. You are welcome.
Let's talk about California Proposition 50. That's the upcoming ballot measure that they're holding a special election for on November 4th to address redistricting the state of California. It is a direct response to Texas's action, except for the difference is Texas did it behind closed doors with just their state legislatures that was controlled by the GOP, where Gavin Newsom and the Democrats in California are actually putting it on a ballot measure, allowing the voters of California to decide this. I've said this a million times. I'm against gerrymandering at its base. I think gerrymandering is one of the things that is destroying this country. Unfortunately, the Republicans don't feel the same way, and they've extensively used gerrymandering throughout the country, not just Texas, to ensure that they get the most favorable outcomes in their congressional votes throughout their red states that they represent. A lot of people are against this California measure, one of them being the former governor and actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I feel it's crucial. As much as I hate the idea of gerrymandering, again, we are not playing by the same rules. We are going to lose our democracy if we continue to try to stand on old political norms and not directly confront what the GOP and MAGA is doing. I'm not a fan of Newsom, but right now, he is the one who is putting up the fight. He is the one that is coming after MAGA and hitting them where they live, on social media and with these harebrained schemes to tip the scales of our democracy. We are not in normal times. We have to fight fire with fire, unfortunately. So for all my friends, and I have quite a few living in California, I urge you to get out and vote on November 4th and vote in favor of Prop 50, and also to encourage your friends, your neighbors, your family, anyone living in California, anyone moving to California, register to vote in California so we can get this measure passed. It's going to save our democracy.
Okay, it is official. California is having a special election on November 4th for Prop 50. Basically, long story short, in 2008 and 2010, the California voters voted for having an independent commission to redraw the maps instead of having the politicians redraw the maps. What Prop 50 does is it would take away that reform and give it back to the politicians. That goes exactly against what Californians have voted for. Now, Gavin Newsom is like, well, we're going to do this because states like Texas, who has never had that reform, they never voted on it. It's always been the politicians who have the power to redistrict Texas. So it's not like they've taken away something that Texans had voted against. So Gavin Newsom's basically making this point, states like Texas, blah, blah, blah. The real issue is the fact that Gavin Newsom knows that he's losing so many supporters. Gavin Newsom's so focused on his 2028 election. He wants to make sure that California is still going to be run by Democrats, and he's trying to do everything in his power to make sure that that happens. But here's the thing. As Californians, we know that under Democratic rule, it hasn't been working out. Again, I grew up in LA. I ran into so many of my friends recently who all said the same thing. We've all grown up there. We don't want to be here anymore. This is awful. We want to move to a different state. We want to move to a red state. The crime, everything is really bad. So Gavin Newsom right now is having a freak out because, let's be honest, a lot of his voters are getting deported and he doesn't really know what to do anymore. So this is his way of saying, let's take the power away from the people, bring it back to the politicians so we can continue to stay in power and drive California to the ground. So November 4th, very, very big deal. If you want to keep things the way that they are, and by that I mean keep the power of the maps and the redistricting in the hands of the people and not the hands of the politicians, making sure that it's actually fair instead of what Gavin Newsom thinks is fair, then vote no on Prop 50 November 4th. That's what you need to do.
Escalation in the fight to control the outcome of the midterm elections next year. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill yesterday which could give Democrats an advantage in that state's congressional races. He says it's all an effort to balance a similar measure that helps Republicans win extra seats in the state of Texas.
If you live in some other state, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, this political battle is happening in the two most populated states, but it infects the entire country because it's all about the balance of power in Congress. Historically, the president's party loses congressional seats in the midterm elections. Republicans have a slim majority in the House, so they're looking for every possible win. California Democrats moved quickly Thursday to start redrawing the Golden State's congressional map. The move sets up a special election in November.
They fired the first shot, Texas.
It's in response to a Texas redistricting plan that's poised to shift several Lone Star State districts away from Democrats in favor of Republicans, starting with next year's elections. The GOP hopes to win 5 more of the state's 38 House seats, fulfilling a request by President Trump. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott defends the changes, saying he's doing what Democratic-controlled states have already done.
These blue states had already gerrymandered their states so dramatically, there's really hardly any Republicans they can squeeze out of congressional districts.
Final passage of the new map seems inevitable, given the GOP's total control of Texas state government. But it was delayed by Democratic lawmakers who left the state in protest.
We're going to still continue to fight. We're going to take this to the courts.
And in doing so, they convinced California Democrats to act.
We're responding what occurred in Texas. We're neutralizing what occurred, and we're giving the American people a fair chance.
But unlike in Texas, members of the minority party in California stayed to fight.
Some point to Texas as a justification for this proposal, but California doesn't follow. We lead.
The redistricting fight might not stop with just these two states. President Trump on Thursday said again other red states that are also looking to redraw their maps include Missouri, Indiana, and Florida. And in New York, the Democratic-controlled government there is still thinking about possibly redrawing the map.
Have you seen all the mailers coming in against Prop 50, the redistricting measure on this November's ballot in California? It looks like this. At least this was the first one. They deceptively make it look like a voter guide, which it's not. And by the way, the League of Women Voters California is not opposed to Prop 50. Let's see what they say. Okay, ends independent maps. False. In fact, it maintains the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. And after the next census, they will draw the maps once again. Silence voter voices. False. We are actually going to the voters and let them decide if they want to support the maps we're putting forward in order to ensure that we can combat what Texas is doing. And guess what? Texas did not go to the voters. They don't trust the voters. They did it behind closed doors, and they are forcing that redistricting through, and that gerrymandering is horrendous. Open the door to gerrymandering. Republican states are the worst gerrymandering states in the country, and what Texas is doing is gerrymandering even worse. They bust the door wide open years ago, and we are finally fighting fire with fire to save our democracy. Set a dangerous precedent. And that's why California Republican legislators should have gone to Trump and should have gone to Greg Abbott and told them, don't do it. We said, don't do it. And because Texas moved forward, we are moving forward, because we are not going to play the nice guy and let Trump take over all branches of government and run for president again and have J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and all these billionaires run our government and take our democratic process away from us. We're not going to do it. We're going to fight. We're going to fight back, and we're going to win Prop 50, and we're going to show the Republicans that we can stand up to them.
And here we are in open and plain sight before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction to that act. We're doing it mindful of our higher angels and better angels. We're doing it mindful that we want to model better behavior, as we've been doing for 15 years in the state of California with our Independent Redistricting Commission. But we cannot unilaterally disarm. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need to stand up. We need to be firm in our resolve.
Here's everything you need to know about the special election happening in California on November 4th. In case you haven't seen, California's Governor Gavin Newsom has proposed a statewide ballot initiative that's going to be voted on in a special election. It's an initiative that is only going to be triggered in response to other states' actions. So this all came about because Texas decided to gerrymander 5 districts to make them Republican. I will make another video on gerrymandering if I need to, but basically it's redrawing the map to make sure that certain swaths of people vote in a certain area so that certain district flips a certain way. So Texas threatened to gerrymander their map in order to pick up 5 seats. And Gavin Newsom said, well, if you're going to gerrymander for 5 seats, then we're going to do the same thing. So he proposed the Election Rigging Response Act. This map would redistrict liberal voters into 5 different districts in California. It's being voted on as a whole, but the legislative package has 3 big parts. The first part is Amendment 8. That basically gives the California state legislature the power to adopt a new legislative map should Texas decide to gerrymander. It's a conditional measure. Again, this only happens if Texas does it first. Second part of this legislative package is Senate Bill 280. That establishes everything that California needs logistically and financially to actually hold these elections on November 4th. And the final part of the legislative package is Assembly Bill 604. And that measure actually specifies the exact redrawing of the congressional map and making sure that it's approved. The language of the initiative is set to be finalized by August 29th. While I don't think that like $250 million should go to a special election this year in California, considering everything that we need, Gavin Newsom is the only one willing to fight fire with fire, and I fully support that. You need to be registered to vote in California by October 20th if you want to participate in this special election. And unless we get some insane new piece of information, I am absolutely going to be voting yes.
This message is for all my blue dots and red counties in California. We have a big assignment and we cannot mess this up. So we have homework to do. So what are we going to do? First off, if we've never registered to vote, that is step number 1. We're going to register to vote no later than October 20th, okay? Second, if you have registered to vote and you have voted before, we are going to check our voter registration status. We don't want to be told that we accidentally were deleted from the voter rolls, okay? And if you were deleted, you're going to re-register to vote. What are we going to do next? We're going to be receiving the mail-in ballot. We're going to fill it out and we're going to vote yes on Prop 50. And we're going to turn them in early. We're not going to wait till the last minute. We're not going to procrastinate. We are going to be voting early. And if you live in a VCA county, you can go to early in-person voting too, starting October 25th. So what is the assignment? We're going to register to vote, we're going to vote yes, and we're going to vote early. We don't want to miss
California
this.
voters, we are having a special election. Governor Newsom just signed Prop 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, to ask voters to temporarily accept newly drawn congressional maps here that offset the impact of newly drawn congressional maps in Texas that were intended to deliver 5 seats to the GOP in the midterm elections of 2028. The governor there did that at the request of the president.
It's a power grab. They're rigging the election. It's unprecedented, midterm, to call up 5 seats to do what they did. And so the consequence of that is we can't just think differently. We have to act differently.
The governor says they're fighting fire with fire. Well, the problem when you fight fire with fire is you burn it all down.
The special election is set for November 4th, so you can expect to see a lot of campaigning from both sides of this issue. In fact, I already got my first piece of mail at home.
The biggest electoral fight of 2025 is here. This November 4th, California voters will be voting on Prop 50. Prop 50 establishes new congressional maps for the 2026 cycle, 2028 cycle, and the 2030 cycle. After 2030, California will go back to its independent commission. This is really just a matter of fairness. Donald Trump is attempting to rig the rules and use Texas as a way to steal congressional seats. This just evens out the scales. For every seat Texas gets, California also gets a congressional seat. And look, in California, we're all about fairness. But if Texas wants to start a fight, we're not afraid to finish it.
Yo guys, thank you for watching our video. We really appreciate it. So do well to tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. And if this is your first time of coming across our video, do well to subscribe our channel so that more videos like this will pop up in your screen to get notified about what is happening in the country and around us. So at its core, this proposition 50 would temporarily suspend every independent citizen redistricting commission and return congressional map drawing powers to the state legislature for the next 3 election cycle using a new district map drafted by Democrats in response to Republican gerrymandering Texas. So this proponent argued that it's necessary in countermeasuring to present fair representative with major Democratic only donors such as Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings contributing millions and Barack Obama, who has publicly endorsed the move as a defense against undermined democracy. So we are going to stop here for today, but we will bring you more news coming up around us. So stay tuned as we unfold more that is going to happen around us in the country. You're welcome.